Here is a sample of what I'm looking for when you do your weekly reviews of one of the virtues that you are focused on from Ben Franklin. These are near the end of the autobiography, and you can find these in your textbook. You can also find them online, and I will have them posted for you as well in the class. The first virtue is temperance, and I would like you to go in order. So as you are going throughout your week, jot down some notes, just handwrite somewhere in a notebook so that you are ready to submit the assignment. And I'm the only one who's going to look at it, so you don't have to worry that it's a discussion board or anything. So you can put in there whatever you would like. Do format the assignment in MLA format. Use your name, my name, the class, and the date with day, month, year. Notice there are no commas in MLA format dates. Come up with a title for your writing. Every writing assignment should have a title. There should be no extra line spaces after the heading or after the title, so make sure you do that. Make sure it's all double spaced, your margins are good. You're not typing this in a text box, you're actually creating a document. You can create a Word document using Office 365 that's available on the Wallace State homepage. Come up with a title, as I said. Don't use my title. So come up with something creative and original of your own. Start with some sort of main idea sentence or sentence that would engage any reader at all, something that anybody could relate to ease into the topic. And then I want you to directly quote from Ben Franklin what exactly is written for Franklin's definition for each of the virtues, and you're going to do one virtue at a time, so just this one virtue. Introduce the quotation correctly, cite the line, or not the line number, the page number where you found your quotation. Yours may look similar to this. And then the next sentence should explain or reiterate what that definition is in your own words. So bring that up to current language that anyone could understand. Some of the early American writers use words and descriptions and styles of writing that are particular to their time and we no longer use. So that's a good opportunity for you to give your interpretation. Then apply that virtue to your life. Give some specific examples as this student has done. And then finally, when you are finished with your writing, and it should be about this length, this is altogether about 250 words, so that is what we're going for. Your works cited should be done because you have directly quoted something, and cited means quoted. You're only quoting one work, so work singular should go there. Now for this first virtue, you can just focus on quoting Ben Franklin. As we start reading texts that are more in depth, I'm going to ask you to make some connections between whatever virtue you are going to be writing about and the other writers. So I want to see some connections. It shows that you understand the influence of Franklin's ideas on other writers, and it might also show how the writers have veered from Franklin's ideas, and that's fine too. So they might be in conflict with each other, and you can point that out, or they might be in support of each other. So think about that as you are writing when you get further into the semester. I've created a sample here for you of what those later ones will look like when you are incorporating someone else's work. So this student, or me in this case, needs to add this element of the heading. So you would have your name, and then my name, and then the class, and the due date for your assignment, whatever it happens to be. And then you want to make sure your spacing is all done correctly. Oops. So make sure that your spelling is good and your spacing is done correctly. So I can do that by holding down the control button in the left-hand side of the keyboard and A, and that highlights everything. Or I could just highlight everything using my mouse or cursor. I can go to line spacing and hit 2, and I can go to line spacing and hit remove space after paragraph. So watch what happens when I do that. See the spacing? Line spacing. Pow. Now that's good line spacing. Because you have 2 paragraphs, or even if you have 1 paragraph, you should indent your paragraphs. Now I should center the title works cited because I have 2 sources cited when I am asked to incorporate more than one source from the textbook. The other thing I need to do is make sure I'm using a hanging indent so I can highlight. Notice there are no extra line spaces between my sources. I just highlight those, go back to line spacing, go to special indent and hanging. So it's really the paragraph icon I'm looking for. I want a hanging indent. My sources should be in alphabetical order, not the order I use them in the assignment, but in alphabetical order. So this one comes to more than 1 page, and that's fine. If you want to put your works cited on the last page as you would for a more formal assignment, you can go to Insert and hit Page Break, and that puts your last page as the works cited on its own, which is how it technically should be for MLA format. And then let's see, the last thing I need to do is, and honestly the last thing I do is come up with a creative original title. So I don't know what I would have for my title, but okay, so that's not a great title, but you get what I mean. And make sure you capitalize all the major words of your title. Don't put an extra line space after your title or before your title. If you want to insert page numbers, go to Insert. Go to not header or footer, but page number, and it does create a header, but you want to go to page number because the page numbers will automatically fill in. See the hashtag next to the cursor? That actually is a symbol that means number, and it's going to automatically fill in your numbers for you when you download the assignment to your computer. So you would put your last name, and you can change the font. Oh, add a space, use the space bar. And then you can highlight it and change the font to 12-point Times New Roman to match the rest of the assignment. All of your assignments should be in 12-point Times New Roman. All right, so I will post these couple of samples so that you can see what you're going for. Again, the first couple of reflections using the virtues, we're just using a quotation from Ben Franklin. You're going to get some good practice in. But then as we start reading more authors and less of just Franklin's own stuff or the overview of the historical contexts, I want you to look for things that you can add as direct quotations from another source. So one of the sources that you have been assigned for that week. So the idea is to connect these virtues you're focused on each week to the things that you are reading. And those connections could be in conflict. The ideas could be in conflict, and you could point that out, or they could be similar. So that is the goal. You might find that you can use some of these connections in your big research paper. So be thinking toward that as well. So as you're reading over this one last thing, I just want to point out the order that I formatted the assignment in. So I went through and did the same thing I would have done with the shorter one, just introductory sentence, main idea sentence, quote the definition from Franklin, explain that definition in my own words, and then I connected using likewise to prepare my reader for a similar idea that relates to Franklin's virtue is from Henry David Thoreau. And then I quoted something from Thoreau that relates to Franklin's idea. And then I used the next paragraph to explain how this idea I could see having an impact in my personal life. And I actually took this one from a student reflection from a previous semester. And of course, the works cited, super important. Let me know if you have questions.